But the wider debate that I think you and I were having was about freedom of speech and where that begins and ends. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you seem to be suggesting that you don't think there is an end. In other words, you can say absolutely anything you want, to which I would say, well, I don't think you should be able to say to 32 million people on a platform that you want to make Jewish people your slaves and whip them. Do you?
Well, I think the thing is, when Elon took over X, he wanted to mirror it with the First Amendment. And the First Amendment allows a broad range of speech to be allowed. And the reality is, if we don't have free speech, we don't have a democracy. And that's literally from Elon Musk himself. Now, if we want to talk about unequal punishment on X, based on some people saying this and getting punished and people saying this and not getting punished, that's a whole other conversation. But I think if you're going to mirror the First Amendment with Twitter, then you need to allow that speech in.
Well, folks, we're only in February and we've got Kanye West outing himself as a black Nazi, which is wild. We've got Myron Gaines from the Fresh and Fit podcast on Piers Morgan trying to justify Kanye West's right to suggest on Twitter that he would like to enslave and whip Jewish people. An interesting take from Fresh and Fit. It turns out his is a popular take because he wants to be a defender of the First Amendment, even though it kind of feels like it's incitement to violence to want to enslave and whip Jewish people. But, apparently when I look on the comments of this episode, it looks like it's me that's got the hot take. Apparently that's a hot take, and people are siding with Myron Gaines, which is interesting. I've watched Fresh and Fit before, and I feel like they aren't particularly good at debating, and they're condescending and quite patronising to most of the people they have on, and they deliberately get people that aren't particularly good at debating on. If you disagree with that and you watch Fresh and Fit often, just link me an episode or a debate they've had that you feel is a good watch, because I'll be interested to see it, and I can make a video about it if you want. But yeah, let's get into some of the wild stuff that's said during this episode of Piers Morgan Uncensored.
Consenting adults having sex and posting that is not acceptable, but treating Jews or saying Jews should be slaves and be whipped, that is acceptable for you.
Speech, you cannot conflate speech with pornography, Piers.
Why
I see
not?
what you're trying to.
Why not?
They're not the same whatsoever.
Why aren't they the same thing?
No, they're not.
Why not?
No,
Explain
not.
why the difference.
Because in order to allow speech in, you need to allow all speech in so that people can come in and be able to have ideas, right? We need to get
What's
into
wrong
the
with people
marketplace.
having sex?
But if you're going to go ahead and say, oh yeah, let's go ahead and conflate that with pornography, well, there's nothing really to debate there, any real discourse that could be had with pornography of watching people have sex. It's not the same whatsoever, and to try to conflate the two is ridiculous.
Why? One is legal and the other one is actually illegal. To treat people like slaves and whip them would be illegal. Actually, legal pornography is legal.
No,
so you're in favour of censoring something that's legal, but you're not in favour of censoring something that's illegal.
Nice.
Well, it feels like to me that this whole thing has been set up kind of against Myron here. It feels like he's had a bit of a spat with Piers over Twitter, and Piers has brought him on here just to kind of make him look a bit silly. But I personally feel like he has made him look a bit silly. He's a little bit of double standards, a little bit of hypocrisy here. He doesn't like the fact that there's porn online, but that's a free First Amendment right, I guess, and in his view that should be technically allowed, but he's not a fan of that, so he wants to censor that, but keep Kanye's right to say that he wants to enslave and whip Jewish people. Yeah, totally sounds completely rational. Said no one ever, but there's more.
Myron, let me bring you back in, because yesterday when you were getting into it with me about what you perceive to be censorship, you said, why the fuck are you calling for censorship when you have a show called Uncensored? The hypocrisy is incredible. But I was calling for a censorship of blatant, threatening violence in the language, abuse of Jewish people and of women, including trying to market a T-shirt based around an incident of criminal domestic abuse. Surely you would agree with that censorship, wouldn't you?
No, I don't believe in censorship. I think, context matters, and it's very obvious that, he's doing this as a marketing plug. I mean, look, we're talking about it right now, so he's done a fantastic job. He had a commercial with the Super Bowl. He's the talk of the town right now. He's basically stolen the attention from Kendrick Lamar. Some people here are trying to say that Kendrick is more relevant than Kanye when it comes to hip hop, but he's stolen the attention. How? From really smart marketing. Now, with that said, I don't think anyone's ability to speak should ever be censored. Now, do I like everything that he says? No, but I'm going to fight for his ability to say it. I also think it's important to note that sarcasm and humor and making jokes is a part of what he was saying. Is he really going to run around and slap women? No. Obviously, he's being sarcastic. He's being funny. He's being edgy. And I think that's important because we need people like that pushing the envelope so we could protect free speech.
But he was literally trying to sell a T-shirt which had imagery of his friend Diddy, his new friend apparently, because they fell out, his friend Diddy involved in a criminal act of abuse against a woman. Literally, that's what he was doing.
I don't like where this is going.
So this is a point where Myron kind of veers off the verbal cliff and just dissipates. Any points that he had previously are just eviscerated now. I don't know how they didn't address this while they were talking here. They need me on that panel because seriously, if you have to drop to the level of bad, but wait, they say smart marketing, apparently using Hitler and saying that you want to whip Jews, just to say provocative things is smart marketing, then that's just crazy. Sure, he might have sold some extra things, but you've just let's just say bye to all my principles. Now I'm just a Jew hating bloody neo-Nazi. Like, what are you talking about? It's not smart marketing. Smart marketing's coming up with something that's catchy, cool, that's going to last long. It makes your brand last longer. Not like, oh, the Hitler. Like, no, that's not how we should be operating. We should not be encouraging that kind of behavior. Yeah, he's so wrong about this. I can't believe they don't speak about it on the panel. It's silly. It's a glaringly obvious point to make. Like, how can you sit there and suggest that, like, whipping Jews and punching women and all this is like the best way to market your stuff? It's just not. Like, there's so many more brainy things you can do to like make your brand stand out, not just like being as provocative as possible. Marion here is suggesting that Kanye West is just a sarcastic comedian with dark humor. Like, it's not. It's just you're saying provocative stuff to get a reaction from people, and who knows what he actually thinks. If he thinks some of this stuff, then do we know any different? Is it just like a really, conceptual, dark joke? No, it's not. It's just a bit pathetic. If you have to go to that level to sell your merchandise, then, in my opinion, you're a pathetic, reprehensible, complete piece of shit, right, in my opinion. So, yeah, no endorsement of Kanye West ever coming out of this channel.
He was doing this in the middle of a marketing run, right?
And if I said to you now, sometimes you have to do it like the pharaohs. You have to make black people work for you, but watch them as close as you can, whip your blacks. If I said that to you now, literally taking his words about Jews, what would you say?
I would laugh because I have the ability.
You find that funny?
Yeah.
I don't think you would. I don't think you would. And by the way, nor should you. Nor should you, because it's not funny.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard some crazy takes on that show, but of recent memory, that's got to be one of the craziest. And it's crazy that I think that I'm the one that's got the hot take here. When you go in the comment section, everybody's defending Myron, and I'm like, dude, are these people not listening? Yeah, some of the stuff he's trying to justify here is just wild. I don't know how we can justify it. It's just crazy. But here we are. This 2025, and it's a whole new world, I guess. So, yeah, I've not increased any respect level for Fresh and Fit. I'm sure they don't care. Yeah, well, here we are at the end, so thanks very much if you've watched this far. Please like and subscribe. It helps a lot. I'm trying to get this channel up and going. The dream is one day getting on that panel and giving them a little bit of what I think. So that would be nice. So thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch you again. Thanks.